Have you heard of the allure of 3? Yes, we're going to talk about the power of the number 3 and how it is so deeply ingrained in our society, even in music. Here's a quick context. Omnitrium perfectum is a Latin phrase when translated means everything that comes in threes is perfect. We have in religion the 3 pure ones of Taoism, Trimurti and Tridevi of Hinduism, and the Holy Trinity of Christianity. And in writing, we have the rule of 3, a principle that suggests events, ideas, or characters are more effective when they come in a group of 3. In storytelling, we have the 3-act structure, which divides a story into 3 parts, first of which is the setup, followed by the confrontation and the resolution. Most Hollywood movies you watch will follow this structure. And in photography, we have the rule of thirds, whereby proponents of the technique believe that aligning subjects to these points create more interest in the composition. In competitions, we have first, second, third places, of course. And finally, in music, we have forms like ternary, sonata form, and various 3-movement compositions and so on and so forth. But all this aside, what I want to discuss here is this melody. The sequence you just watched is the ending of Spider-Man Homecoming with the music by Michael Giacchino. The melody is the so-called Spider-Man theme, and here we can see a pattern of restating an idea 3 times. Here is the first statement. Here we have a general rising motion from La to Fa coming down to Do, which is then followed by this. Where we now have a rising motion from La to Fa sharp down to Re. Here we see a slight rise in tension which correlates to the slight rise in pitch between the lowest and peak pitch compared to the previous statement. It erupts with an arpeggio surge up, where we see a dramatic rise unlike the modest one we saw between the first and the second statements. This technique makes the melody feel stuck in a confined space, trying to free itself from it. This is achieved by having the same head of the melody in all 3 statements, except in the last statement where it gets altered to make this breaking out motion a series of leaps instead of a smooth stepwise motion movement to make the breaking out more dramatic. This makes the final statements overshooting from La to the La an octave higher more dramatic, as it creates a sense of triumph after a struggle, especially with the horns playing it, itching closer and closer to their high register. Is this not consistent with the 3-act structure of storytelling? One can compare the first statements as the setup, second as the confrontation where the theme is trying to break through, and the third is where it finally breaks free, the resolution. A similar sentiment is found in the opening melody of the Brahms Clarinet Sonata No. 2, one of my favorites. Here we have the second statement as the slight rise from the first with their respective heads as minor third leaps, and in the third statement we have a large leap of minor 10th, breaking free from whatever was straining it. This follows the general rule we observed in the Spider-Man theme, whereby the second statement is a modest rise from the first, and the third is comparably larger than the 2 preceding statements. If any of you have seen this at work, tell me in the comments. It can be classical, pop, or any kind of music. Also, press that like button to help me gauge whether you would like to see more of these videos. Until next time, goodbye.